Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be kind of a story time video, if you will, about a recent emergency room visit that I had. It's kind of a crazy story, so I'll just start from the beginning. So it was a Saturday night. My husband we had planned to go out to dinner for a friend's birthday, and I had started feeling a little bit of discomfort. Thought it was normal kind of stomach cramps and discomfort from the Crohn. So I've been consistently, on a steroid for a few weeks at that point. And like I said, just thought maybe it was something I ate or maybe just regular Crohn's discomfort, but didn't think a whole lot about it. So probably around 8 p.m., 9 p.m. or so that we were on our way to dinner, I just told my husband, I just don't think I'm going to go. I don't want to ruin your time. I'm just going to be uncomfortable. I really just kind of want to chill out, lay down, rest. You go, have a good time with friends, and I'll just see you later. So kind of reluctantly, my husband went ahead and went on to the dinner. Like I said, we had already had plans to go out for this friend's birthday, and I didn't want him to have to miss out on anything. So he went on and did that. So at that point, I headed over to my parents' house. They live about 10 minutes or so away from where I live. And like I said, I dropped my husband off at the restaurant, told him that I'd come back and pick him up just to give me a call whenever he was ready to go. So I headed over to my parents' house. I was feeling really bummed and didn't really want to sit at home by myself. A few hours later, my husband gave me a call, said he was ready to come home. So I ran by the restaurant and picked him up and came back to our house. So everything seemed to be fine. Like I said, it still had a little bit of discomfort, but I had taken some Tylenol and it seemed to be, kind of getting a little bit better. So didn't really think anything about it, went on to bed, and about 45 minutes or so later, so at this point it was probably around somewhere between 1:30 and 2 a.m. I woke up with the most excruciating pain I have ever felt in my life. Now, I have never had a child, so I've never experienced childbirth, but up until this point in my life, that was by far the worst pain I have ever felt in my life. Like I said, it woke me up out of a dead sleep. Basically, I was feeling pain, like stabbing pain on my left back side that was kind of radiating around to my front and kind of through my front, if that makes sense, on my stomach, all on my left side. So I wasn't sure what was the matter. I tried to get my husband awake, could not get him awake for anything. We actually had a friend staying at our house that weekend, so I was trying my best not to wake anybody up. Honestly, I thought that I had rolled over on something in the bed. I thought, he's got something in this bed. I thought for sure that there was something that I had rolled over on, but nope, there wasn't anything in the bed. I called my mom. Luckily, she answered. Like I said, this was around 2 a.m. and I just felt like I needed to tell somebody. I was really freaked out. I thought, as soon as I called her, I said, I think I need to go to the hospital. I don't know what's the matter. I don't know what's going on. So she said that she would come get me, and I guess it probably hadn't been maybe more than 2 or 3 minutes, but it felt like a lifetime. I called her back and said, I'll just have to meet you at the emergency room. I can't wait any longer. I raced to the emergency room. We have a hospital that's probably about 15 minutes or so away. So once we got inside, I could not stop moving or sit down for anything. I had, the pain just was unbearable. I couldn't sit down. I felt like I needed to, it just felt better to be moving. So after about 5 or 10 minutes or so with the admissions people at the front desk there, we made our way back to a room, saw a nurse that was back there, started to kind of get some information from me, asking questions. I don't know if I mentioned yet, but I was really, really nauseous in the car on the way there. Really nauseous once I got to the hospital. I did end up getting sick shortly after we got there. I think it was just from the pain. And little did I know that I would continue to get sick for the next 6 hours or so that I was at the emergency room. So that was just the beginning of it. But nurse that was there tried to get my blood pressure, had a really hard time getting that. Like I said, it was really hard for me to sit still. He finally got it after like the third try. We got a decent blood pressure. Obviously, my blood pressure was a little bit elevated because I was really freaked out, but it was just really crazy. So a few minutes later, the doctor came in, and the doctor started to review the information that the nurse had taken from me, and he made a little joke and said, well, have you ever had a kidney stone? Because you're doing the kidney stone dance. So he seemed to think from the get-go that it was a kidney stone. So we need to run some tests. We need to get some things figured out. But first, let's see if we can do something to get you some pain relief. So they came in, and I don't know if I've mentioned this before. I'm deathly afraid of needles. Like I said, starting to kind of overcome that. But with that, it seems over the last few months that nurses and doctors have had a really hard time getting an IV run on me. My veins are really small. They've told me to make sure that if I know I'm coming in, to drink a ton of water, which I've been doing a lot more of the last few weeks or so. But at this point, I hadn't planned on going to the emergency room, so I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be a nightmare trying to get an IV in. The first nurse that I had was a male nurse. He came in, got an IV on my left side, basically my elbow. I told him that there is a good vein in one of my hands. He said if we're going to do a CAT scan, which it sounded like the doctor wanted to do, he said it has to be higher than your hand. So he got it in pretty well on the first try, so that was really good. And I started to have some pain relief. Oh my gosh, it was like the heavens had opened and sun was coming in. Like I said, in about a minute or two, I started to feel relief. And so I was feeling much better, feeling much more relaxed. And maybe 10 or 15 minutes started to go by. And all of a sudden, the pain started to come back. I don't know what happened, but I started to freak out. Like I said, it was maybe only about 15 minutes or so. My mom called the nurse to come back into the room. And apparently, I didn't know this could happen. I guess the IV moved, or it was next to something. I'm not really sure what happened, but basically the needle had moved out of the vein and I wasn't getting any more of the pain medicine running through my bloodstream. So basically they said, well, we're going to need to run another IV, but you've got to go back and have this CAT scan done. So basically I had to go back to get the CAT scan without any more pain relief. My mom waited in the emergency room. I was wheeled down the hall. I already get motion sickness as it is. And so on top of that, feeling nauseous and the pain relief wasn't working, I basically had a little air sickness bag thing that was somewhat helpful, but I continued to get sick. It was, oh my gosh, it was awful. All the way while they wheeled me into the CAT scan, after the CAT scan, it was exhausting. So basically once I got done with that, like I said, finally made it through the CAT scan, I had to go back to the room and we had to wait for the results from that. So in the meantime, they had another nurse come in and attempt to run an IV on my left hand for some pain relief. And another nurse came in and was running an IV on my right elbow at the same time, or not an IV, but she was taking blood. Basically, they wanted some blood work to be done and see if they could figure out what was going on. So the nurse that was running an IV on my left hand, like I said, I wasn't looking because needles freak me out, but all of a sudden I heard him say, oops, I got some on that pretty ring of yours, and I didn't know what he was talking about, and I looked over, and it looked like a horror scene. I guess he had blown the vein or done something, I don't know, but I was bleeding everywhere, all over the floor, all over my hand, all over my ring. It was really gross. Nurse who was taking blood out of my right elbow was done, so I guess that was not a place where they could run an IV. My left elbow was the one that had the issue when we first started. My left hand now was having issues. So the last place that they thought that they could run an IV would be in my right hand. So they tried that. And when they tried that, it seemed to work. Like I said, I was getting some more pain relief, so that was helpful. I was starting to kind of relax, get comfortable. Like I said, at this point, we had done the CAT scan and the blood work, and there were a couple times that I had felt the urge to use the restroom, and so they wanted me to take a urine cup with me to see if I passed a kidney stone. I'm a little bit loopy at this point, but I could walk, so my mom went with me just to kind of help guide me down the hall. So I tried to use the restroom, and naturally now the IV was in my right hand, and when you're right-handed and have to use the restroom and you're trying to hold a cup, basically, long story short, I knocked that IV out of my hand. Started bleeding all over the bathroom, so that was even more of a nightmare. Oh my gosh, it was just crazy. So at this point, like I said, I've now had a needle in 4 different places, both hands, both elbows, and basically the nurses, after we got back, said, you can't have any more IVs, you're done. No more pain medicine for you. And at this point, luckily, I had kind of had the pain medicine for probably an hour on and off from the different IVs, so the pain had really started to subside. When we got the results back from the CAT scan, they didn't see a kidney stone, but obviously it was not early enough for me to have done the contrast with it, so they said that it might have been there. They just couldn't see it. They didn't see anything in the blood work that would have indicated anything special. The only thing they did see was some white blood cells in my urine that said that it may have had something to do with the Crohn's. It may have something to do with the steroid. They weren't entirely sure, but that those could indicate a kidney stone as well. So to do one more final check before I left, I had to do a pelvic exam, which is basically like a female exam, before I left, just to make sure that it wasn't like my ovaries or anything like that. So they did that again, couldn't find anything else that was the matter, and kept coming back to that they thought it was likely a kidney stone. I was released. Basically, they gave me some pain medicine to take once I got home if the pain came back, and basically I came home and just slept the whole rest of the day. At that point, it was early Sunday morning, and it was really crazy. It was really painful. It was uncomfortable. The emergency room doctor there told me to follow up with both my primary care doctor and my gastroenterologist just to see if there's any additional tests that they wanted run. I did go in a couple weeks later to my primary care doctor, and they did some urine samples and some blood work, and everything came back normal. So they are pretty sure that it was a kidney stone, even though nobody ever actually saw one. They're pretty certain that that's what it was. I've heard since then that individuals with inflammatory bowel diseases are more prone to kidney stones. So one thing, like I said, I've been trying to do the last few weeks, especially after this happened, is drink a ton of water. I'd love to hear from any of you who've experienced kidney stones, anything that you can do to prevent it. The only thing I've heard, like I said, is drink water. So if you have any other tips, anything you could share, I would love to hear it. Thanks for watching this video. It was kind of a Debbie Downer video, but I know what this channel is all about, is about sharing my experiences with this disease. So I would love to hear about your experiences and any tips that you have. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.